So, welcome back to How to Make Hardstyle part 6. We're still doing this in 2024, 2nd of December right now. So, we're going to do the mastering today. It's very important to leave this until the end and not do this during the project. Well, in my opinion anyway, 95% of the work is done in the mixing phase and not in the mastering phase. Some people will tell you otherwise, but in my opinion, mastering is just the icing on the cake. I also don't do a lot with mastering. I just do a couple of things and we can literally be done with this video in like 5 to 10 minutes probably. So yeah, let's get started with it. The first thing I always do is to check if it's not clipping in the louder parts and kind of have the track sitting around -6 decibels. So let's look at the master volume and play the drop. So the mid intro is a little bit louder than the drop itself, so I just dropped it down a little bit more. But I think it's pretty good like it is now. Now I'm going to export it by pressing Ctrl-R to make it a WAV file. So save it here. And start. And that will just make it a little bit easier to see what it's what the track looks like in a waveform. So this is the waveform rendered out now. You can see in the mid intro it has a lot of these spikes. So let's see if we can fix that real quick. I have an idea, which is just basically to select all the kicks. And right at the end, you can add a little slope in volume. Just add a tiny bit. And hopefully that'll fix it. So let's render it again and see if it fixed it. So let's see if it fixed it. So sadly, I have to re-record this because basically the video was kind of corrupted. From this part. As you can see, I already got it mastered, but let's just forget that and I'll do it again. Or basically, I will show you what I did. So it actually did fix it. The spikes are gone. So that's good. So the first thing I added, as you can see here, is I boosted the volume a little bit. Because without it, it was little bit low in volume, especially if you add these master thingies, which will also reduce the volume. After that, I added a FAB filter. And what I ended up doing was rolling off some of the lows around 30 Hertz. And also some of the highs around 16,000 Hertz. This is because then you can boost the track a little bit more in volume. And also these are parts that you don't really hear, like this. Let's turn off recording. Not that important information, but yeah, I rather lose that and push the track a little bit more. We're not done with FAB filter yet. We also want to add another low cut in the sides channel, like this, and do it for like 200 to 250 Hertz. This will not actually low cut the track, but it will low cut it in the sides channel. So the mid channel will still have bass, but the side channel won't have bass. So the bass gets a little bit more tight and a little bit more central. I actually didn't do that here, but I like to add a soothe over it as the first plugin. Soothe basically gets rid of any harsh frequencies. So you don't have to do that yourself, which is cool. So then we add a Ozone 9. You can use any Ozone, but I used Ozone 9. I didn't upgrade. So remember to turn on true peak limiting. Otherwise, streaming services or speakers or something can kind of deform the sound because there are spikes in the sound possibly. And this will just prevent that altogether. There you have the threshold, which is where you want the plugin to start actually limiting. As the description says, signal leveling at which maximizer begins limiting. Then you have the ceiling, which is basically the maximum decibel level it will output the volume at. And you basically want to try to get this to a level where you start hearing a difference and then push it back a little bit. So before we try something, let's push the FOB filter back here. And as you can see, the FOB filter I had and have here are pretty much the same. So I'll remove that one and turn this one on. So we have the Ozone elements right here. Let's see what we can do. This is obviously too much. And I think 4.5 was around the sweet spot. If you hear a little difference or no difference, but it's still limiting quite a bit. But then when I look at the Julian loudness meter, I don't think it's loud enough yet. So we are around at like 7, 6.5. So we can push that a little bit further, and I do that using FreeClip. This is basically kind of the same, but it distorts the signal instead of limiting it. And you can see that by the red lines. Everything that's red, which is that is being limited. And again, you want to do the same here. So basically pull it back, pull the threshold back until you hear it start changing the sound, and then put it back a little bit. But the mid intro is actually the loudest part. So let's listen there. Which is, you can already hear that this is too much limiting. So I don't mind a little bit of extra clipping, but not too much. So this is fine. Let's turn on Ozone 9 elements again and fine tune this one again. I think this is fine, so let's look at the Julian loudness meter again. So we almost pushed it by 1 LUF, which is really good, I think. So now let's render it out. I always do that while listening to the track. So yeah. Let's see if we can hear anything weird. If not, then it's pretty much done.
I can feel you slipping, 'cause you want something different. I've gotta let you go and find yourself. When you look from every angle, the colors change around you. Don't be afraid to go and find yourself. What you're running from, babe, what you're running from now. You live out of a suitcase if it's what you need now. I leave the lights on, I'm always gonna be here with the lights on. You know I'll always be here with the lights on. You can take your time. if it's what you need now. I'll leave the lights on. I'm always gonna be here with the lights on. Yeah, for you I always keep the lights on. You can take your time.
So maybe the mid intro is pushed a little bit too hard, but you get the idea, you know, it's a tutorial after all. So I think it sounds pretty good, especially for a tutorial track. So I think I'll leave it there. As always, the projects are in the description, as well as the sound banks and stuff. I will have a kick tutorial coming up soon, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I think I'll leave it here. So I want to thank you for watching this series. And if you have any suggestions for other series, other tracks, stuff like that, just let me know and I'll take a look at it. So have a nice day and I'll see you in the next one.